Today we're going to be talking about this AI called Sora. It just came out, or the announcement just came out. I think they've been working on it for a long, long time. And it's something that was brought to my attention because someone was like, "You just graduated from film school. How are you feeling about this?" I think my industry, the film business, has been affected by technology in ways that most people couldn't anticipate. If you go a decade ago, like nobody would have thought would be where we are. The things that are possible through CGI are crazy. And one thing that's more scarier than CGI is AI. Me, the way I look at technology, or the way I've always thought about these things, is technology is data sets, right? It's everything is based off of data sets. You give it certain information, it generates certain information. And given we are living in the information age, I don't know what the next age will be called, the intelligence age or whatever. But because we're living in that, our greatest resource has been information. And I think one of the biggest things that makes us terrified is we are losing the key thing, information. So most of us have access to this information. We read it. And one thing that has been separate people, what has been making experts, is people who can gather this information and then help us make sense of it. This is something that we saw with COVID. This is something that we've seen with a lot of things. We constantly start seeking experts on different fields and having them tell us what this means, because a lot of times we are bombarded by this information and it makes no sense at all. But I think the one thing that we can agree with is we've seen the impact of technology on the film industry. And one of the main things that's been impressive for me is the more technology that has been created, is the higher the costs of making films and doing things like that. And I think that there's a bubble that will break because of technology. There's a bubble. The film business, the film's biggest barrier to entry is finances. It's money. So when you look at attending a film school, it costs a crazy amount of money, which is ridiculous. And I think that bubble is about to break. Making film, being a filmmaker, being a movie maker is much easier now, because you can access cameras, you can access these things that a lot of filmmakers before us couldn't access. But the challenge is making it to the level that they're at is now harder, because you have more people creating more films and content and stuff like that. But in order to succeed, you now have to be the best of the best, or you need to have money. It's as simple as that. I think film and Formula One are almost similar. Like, whoever has more money makes it. And I think what AI has done and why it's so scary is because people understand that those with money will be able to do more crazy things, and that money is what was being filtered down to those without. So, for example, when you look at the strike that happened last year, right, it was all over AI and how its use in film would work. I worked on a set as an extra. They scanned me, I went in, it was a 4-hour day. They scanned me, they reused that footage multiple times, and they could do whatever they want because we sign over the rights. So, like, you need money, and then they'll say, we'll pay you, we'll pay you for this day, come, let's scan you, and then you'll be an extra in everything. I think I only worked twice on that show, and it's a big show. It's a massive show. It's out now. I can't speak about it, NDA. But yeah, it is what it is, And now we're at a point whereby I was just on the website of OpenAI with Sora. I was just on the website for Sora just to see for myself what it says, because this is something that has been trending, right? And I think one of the main things that we don't do nowadays is get that information for ourselves. So it says, we're teaching AI to understand and simulate the physical world in motion, with the goal of training models that help people solve problems that require reward interaction. Introducing Sora, our text-to-video model. Sora can generate videos up to a minute long while maintaining video quality and adherence to the user's prompt. So one of the key things why this is a scary thing for film is, in order to generate a film set, so let's say I want to write a story in Tokyo, right? In order to depict that, either you go to Tokyo and you have it, or you rebuild it here. I'm in Vancouver. We rebuild it in Vancouver, and that's the cost. what then happens is with a tool like this, you'll be able to recreate Tokyo without having to go there, just by inserting some text into this thing, and then it generates it and creates it, and then you have it. What that means is, for the film people who work in the film industry, there's a lot of jobs that are going to be lost there. So you're looking at people in carpentry, you're looking at people in set decoration, you're looking at all these things that can be affected. And then what's going to happen is, it's probably just going to need one person, right? So right now we have a person called a production designer. That's probably the only person you need, and the VFX people to create this world, and then we'll be able to tell stories. And that's quite a scary thing. That's quite a thing where you're like, oof, do we want that change? Do we need that change? Is it cost effective? I don't know. I don't know how much it will cost once it comes out to be able to use it on big projects. But these are things that have been happening, right? These big studios, the reason why a lot of films will be like, oh, it costed 100 million, costed 200 million to make a thing. You'll find a lot of that cost is in post. It's not necessarily in shooting or in this, or paying directors inflated amounts of money to make something because they have a name, with the hope that if it's a so-and-so's name, people will go to the theater. So my thoughts and beliefs in terms of what this means for you and I, should we be terrified? Should we be scared? I don't necessarily think that we should be scared. I don't necessarily think that we should be terrified, but I think we should be aware. I once read this book, which is called The Paranoid Survivor. And in the book, it just talks about, you got to be paranoid. You got to be looking around you and seeing what opportunities, what threats, what's coming. And don't be over cocky or confident in being like, oh, I can't be replaced. Because definitely you can, and it's all about positioning and having that deeper understanding. When I was thinking about this video, I was just think about back in the day, there were people who wrote books. There were people who told stories. All these people had jobs, and then all of a sudden cameras became a thing and we could capture. And by capturing these stories, it could be retold, right? So think about, you had people who perform dramas. They'll perform the drama here, they'll perform the drama in the next city, and they travel, but they can only be in one place once. And then once you have cameras, you're able to capture that drama and spread it to different people, and they watch. And then as technology enhanced, back in the day you had to get VHSs, and then technology came, and then we went to compact discs, to now where we have streaming. So when you start to think about things like this, you realize technology is constantly being moving, and all we have to do is adapt with it. In the storytelling, I look at it as a whole business, because as storytellers, our objective is to tell the best story possible with the tools that are in our hands. And when this AI thing comes, I think the way to look at it is, how can we use it to enhance our stories? How can we use it to make us better? I think one of the challenges and one of the fears that has happened in recent years is the loudest voices in our industries are non-creative people. And one of the fears that they have is they've been able to get in because of information. So those who are able to understand the information and scream out loud have become the main people. And what then happens now with these tools, they threaten that, because what AI is, it's artificial intelligence, it's intelligence, right? So now we all have a tool that can interpret things that we are confused with. Like if you ask ChatGPT, what does this mean? It explains it to you. And then when you have a tool that whereby, for example, you wanted to shoot in Tokyo, but you couldn't afford to go there. Now you have a tool that can generate Tokyo for you for probably, if it's going to be free like ChatGPT, as that, you have these things. So now we're starting to cut off these barriers to entry for a lot of people. But then I think the fear that people have is on platforms like YouTube, right? Will we have an overload of data content coming through, or how will we manage the quality of information being flown through? Because anybody can have their hands on this thing. I think it's the same thing, man. I think it's the same thing whereby the cream will always rise to the top. People always flow to the best content. There's a reason there's a Beyonce. I get it. There's money. There's all those things involved. But I think what all these tools help is us move into the next phase of humanity and our development as a species. And I don't think there's a way that we can stop. I think a lot of people will be like, I saw Tyler Perry's interview where he says, it's time to put up our guardrails, and he stopped his $800 million expansion, because I think it's the main thing is, if I wanted to shoot at Tyler Perry Studios, right, I can't afford it. And how this thing has worked and how the film business has filtered people has been through cost. So if I can't shoot at Tyler Perry Studios, I'll shoot with the tools that I have, and these tools that I have expose me for where I am and the level that I'm at, and then only a few make it. But I think with tools like this, these guys have to start thinking about, oh, what does it mean? And they have to start thinking about that. And I understand, man, I'd rather have $800 million than lose it. But I think that he should expand. He should do this, because everything will always work the way it worked. Like, think about this. Think about the piano, right? It's an old technology that has been here beyond time. And there are people like Beethoven. There are people now who play the piano in ways that I can't imagine. People who probably go around, like, if Alicia Keys starts playing that thing, man, I'll pay all the money that I have to go see her do it. I can't do it, and I don't think that's a skill that can be replaced. But we have a lot of different keyboards you can play. You can play music on your phone. You can play a keyboard on your laptop. You can have ChatGPT give you some chords that you can use to make music. But the thing is, we will constantly seek those with talent and those who are creative. I think the stage that we are going to now is about the creative and how to be creative. And that's one thing that I don't think even AI will be able to do for you. I don't think it will be able to be creative for you. And I think the steps that we're moving into is creative people, especially in our industry, will start to make it. And a lot of people will be filtered out, because if you look at anything, ChatGPT, whatever, it's all about how you use the tool, and what's the goal, what's the plan, what are you trying to achieve? Because these things that are there to help humanity, not to take away. Me and Elon Musk, we have the same day, but the things that he's been able to achieve, God knows what he'll be able to do with tools like this. But it doesn't mean that the end is here for us. I think it's just an opportunity to find ourselves and find our voices and find what we're trying to express and how we can use this technology. Because in my belief, really, technology is limited. It's limited in what it can do. It works through past data. It doesn't generate new things. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but only humans can think new thoughts. Only humans can do something that's erratic. And people have been drawing, taking photos, doing crazy things that are impressive. I don't think that's the thing that will be lost or taken away. But the greatest thing that you have to guard your mind is the information that you gather, because it's making us feel as if we don't think and we don't have a thought process. We do. And that's the thing that we all have to protect, is our creativeness. We have to protect our voices, and we have to speak up. We have to do things. So in terms of technology coming, should you be afraid? No. But should you keep yourself aware and looking ahead at what's coming? Yes. Because it can be advantages, it can be disadvantages. Remember, in business, they teach us SWOT analysis. I think now is just the time. AI is coming, let it come. We'll embrace it, we'll take it on and see where we go, Algorithms have been here, we figured it out. Things have been here, we figured it out. And it's not different.